Okay, everybody, glad you're with us here today on a Thursday with Longshore and McKnight. A lot of basketball to talk about, some tournaments that got going yesterday, continuing through the weekend, and a good one for the Auburn Tigers yesterday in a win in Nashville. How about that?
He is John Longshore. I am Barry McKnight. I'm not saying that Auburn's win yesterday, 79-61 over Mississippi State, gets Auburn in the tournament. Joe Lunardi from ESPN does, but I'm not saying that. Auburn's win, I don't think gets them in the tournament, but I guarantee you an Auburn loss and they would have had no chance. So there is that. Auburn wins it. They are now 17-15. And as the song title that headlines our show today details, they are staying alive. Staying alive.
The album that nobody bought, allegedly.
Yeah. Oh, man, I hated that Saturday Night Fever soundtrack album. Disco sucks. Yeah, they sold about 80 million of them to somebody.
Somebody bought those things.
Yeah.
Auburn is alive, moving on, taking on Tennessee later today, this afternoon, actually. Might be going on right now if you're listening or watching this program later in the day, which so many people do. We greatly appreciate that.
Meanwhile, Alabama's still got their feet up.
Yeah.
Yesterday, they probably weren't even in Nashville. They may,
I wondered about that.
They may bebop on in today, check it out. Check out Jack's Barbecue across the street from Bridgestone. Take a look around, have a small short practice. And then they see, who they're going to play between either Ole Miss or Georgia.
So you're not going to go, who is the team that's going to be fortunate enough to face us?
Yeah.
That's how it used to be.
There was an interesting piece from interesting tweet from Brian Passink, who is he's the Randall Dickey of Alabama.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but
he has the same role. With the Alabama radio broadcast that Randall Dickey. Listened to a lot of them yesterday. Randall's all right. Anyway, he tweeted out yesterday that in the entirety of the tournament down through the years, back when it was 10 teams, but particularly when it was 12 teams, and the first day was always Wednesday, and it was always 12 seed, 10 seed, 11 seed, and 9 seed. He said only 2 programs in the entire SEC have never, ever played on a Wednesday. Auburn used to play a lot. And that's the University of Florida and Alabama. Kentucky has now played. Kentucky, I think that's the first time they've ever had to play on a Wednesday yesterday. Alabama has never had to play on a Wednesday. So all you guys griping about David Hobbs and griping about Gottfried and Anthony Grant and all that, they've never been bad. They just, it's like every other coach at Alabama. They are lambasted for being mediocre.
That's an interesting stat, Barry.
I trust him. I
have no reason to disagree with him. Since the tournament was renewed, which I believe was in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken.
Right. I agree.
And I certainly do not recall the SEC tournament prior to that. Don't know why they stopped playing it, but they did rekindle it in the 80s. And I remember when it happened, it was kind of a big deal. Oh, wow, look at this. This is kind of neat. Regular season's over. They're going to play a conference tournament, huh?
Meanwhile, John Longshore at 18 years old was saying, this is a waste of time. Nobody cares. This was just a money grab.
What's up with this? I want to say they played it in Birmingham for a long time. But Alabama's never played in the opening day. And, of course, back then there were no afternoon games, if I'm not mistaken. They were both at night because there's only 2 games being played. But, Barry, I want to say the tournament started on Thursday back in the day.
Whatever the first day was.
Because we had 12 teams, and then in 2, we had 14, and then 3-4 years ago we got 16. So I think we went to 14. We went to a Wednesday. We had some buys, I want to say, early. It was kind of crazy. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Trying to make it work, yeah.
But Alabama's never played on a Wednesday. Man, I mean, some of those Anthony Grant teams and
Avery Johnson.
I always forget about him.
Why do you forget about him? You got your son's picture with him at the basketball camp one year.
David Hobbs, Mark Gottfried. I'm trying to think of all the coaches that have been up there. Okay, I can't disagree. So, but Barry, to me, that's like whoopee. We went to the Final Four.
Well,
so what?
No, whoa.
Big deal.
Making the Final Four is 100 billion thousand times more important than, hey, we've never played on the first day of the SEC tournament.
Again, in what way is it more important that we can brag and whoopee, we're a Final Four team and we can raise a banner? Well, what'd you do when you got there? Well, we lost the first game. Oh, but you made the Final Four? Oh, well, okay. Pat yourself on the back. Feel good about yourself, but you ended up a loser. It's lost.
An accomplishment. You have accomplished something. This, again, is the Longshore mindset. As if nobody remembers you, why in the world even do it? I mean, if nobody says, hey, wow, this was great, then, why in the world did you even waste your time if nobody's noticing?
Remember back
making the Final Four is a huge accomplishment.
Sweating it out. Teacher standing in the front of the classroom, looking at her watch. Okay, pencils down, test over. Whoa. I'm not through. I'm sorry, it's over. You didn't finish. But wait a minute, I've only got 4 left. Wait a minute, you made it to the Final Four? Yeah, but I didn't finish. Too bad. Not perfect. Didn't win it all.
That's so awful. I mean, that's so awful. I can't think of the 1,500 things that John and I disagree on that I disagree more. Making the Final Four, winning in the first round, winning in the against the best teams in the nation, winning in the third round, winning in the fourth round, winning in the next round, making the Final Four. It's only 4 teams remaining. John says, that's like not ever playing on the first day of your conference tournament.
Who were the Final Four teams in college football 2 months ago?
Again, the value of it is not in, can I ask a cab driver in Des Moines, Iowa, if he can tell me who the Final Four basketball teams were last year? If he cannot, I submit to you that the entire thing was a worthless endeavor. Unbelievable.
I'll say this. I think the NCAA and CBS and all of these other talking heads that promote college basketball, which is great. It's a positive. Hey, promote college basketball. Make it something that people will be interested in the month of March. But the marketing and the creative team said, you know what? We got to really make this Final Four thing like it's a big deal. Hey, the Final Four, the road to the Final Four. Whoever came up with that one, excellent marketing. The road to the Final Four. Only problem is 3 of those teams are running off into a ditch. That road isn't very smooth. But we don't hear about that. Whoa, I don't see – I can't tell you the last time I talked to an Alabama fan that goes, hey, man, we made the Final Four a couple of years ago. You never hear that. They don't care. So what? Big
Bob
deal.
From Pike Road says, I have never understood why people celebrate. Woo-hoo, we are 4th. Let's put a banner in the stadium. Look at us. We are 4th in the nation. How dumb is that? Championships is all that matter. Okay, that's grammatically incorrect, but championships is all that matter.
Yeah. Remember when the Bad News Bears threw the trophy in the trash can and told the Yankees they could take their trophy and shove it up there?
Tanner Boyle?
Yeah. You can take that Final Four flag and stick it. Who cares?
And meanwhile, somebody else is going, 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? Bears. Come on. Bob, you are so incredibly out of touch on this.
Bob, you are dead on. I get it. Bob, I completely understand. Bob, some programs just don't understand.
Some programs have absolutely miserable fans because even if your football team has won, however many you claim, 18 of them, you know what that means? You had 119 miserable failures.
Well,
and who wants to celebrate that?
They're going through a dry spell, man. I got to tell you, they ain't happy.
I don't even know where to start.
They championships are happy.
You know, I mean, you know, some people out there, I'm not talking about Bob, but some people out there have way higher expectations for a remote football program that they never go watch than they do for themselves. Oh, brother. Championships is all that matter.
Yeah.
But, there is a great, big, beautiful world out there full of people striving for better, striving to do more, striving for self-improvement. If they don't make the CEO of their company, then their entire life has been an absolute travesty. Jesus,
well, I don't fall into that category because I don't think I'm going to be the CEO of a company anytime soon. But when it comes to sports, I think there are fan bases out there that maybe are put a little more pressure on their teams than maybe others do.
Maybe celebrate their teams.
You know the one that gets me? You know how many football teams would love to be 8-4? I'm thinking, what football program wants to be 8-4?
As opposed to where they are right now. Yeah.
What? 8-4? I do like the term,
totally
though, which the late, great Philip Marshall did not like. You know, college football's better when insert team is good. That was one of his pet peeves. He hated that one, which I kind of like it. You know, I do enjoy football when, I don't know, Texas and Southern Cal and Notre Dame and a few others are good.
A very few. Very, very few. Other than that, everybody else, North Carolina State.
Yeah.
Texas Tech, you know. I'm telling you, everybody who thinks that, you're missing out on so much. Hey, boy, this is great. What did Notre Dame do? Oh, they lost? Great. That's it. Done with college football. Wake me up tomorrow when the NFL starts. I mean, if that's your only scope on everything, do they win the championship? No. Then I'm not impressed. Unbelievable.
Well, you know, it's kind of like
missing out on great stories and great accomplishments and great sacrifice and all that touchy-feely stuff that John does not want to hear about. All I want to know is either did you win a championship or did you cover for me?
I'm very impressed. I have a lot of respect for Indiana and what they've done, but I couldn't tell you who won the Gator Bowl. I'm not sure their fan base is going around going, hey, we're the Gator Bowl champs.
Making the Final Four is not like making the Gator Bowl. This is John making all of these obscure comparisons, you know? It's like making the Gator Bowl, you know, Final Four, big whoop, who cares, and all that kind of stuff. You know, it's like pretty soon we're going to make, again, the obscure comparison that John always makes. I know that looks like an accomplishment, but, you know, Cam Petway ran for 1,000 yards one year. I don't know what John has against Cam Petway.
And you know, there again, it goes back to the marketing that the basketball people have done. And they've done an excellent job. And maybe the football people need to emphasize more. It's the Final Four. You don't hear that in football. Like, I'm trying to think who the four teams were. This is 2 months ago, and I still can't remember.
This is what's great. This is what's great is John doesn't remember. I'm a sports broadcaster. Gosh, I couldn't tell you. Some people would not bring it up. Some people would say, boy, I hope they don't ask me who won the Final Four. You know, who was in the Final Four.
Well, I do know Indiana won it.
John is absolutely bragging about it.
Sure.
Hey, I don't know who was in the Final Four. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
You know, he has that niche in this. He has that niche in this industry. We're like, no.
Yeah.
I don't know who won the World Series. Big deal.
Sure.
I know what Texas did. I know what Oklahoma did. I know what Notre Dame did. I know what Ohio State did. I know what Michigan did. I know what Alabama did. That's all. Yeah. Final Four.
Yeah. I got to give it to them.
Actually gain traction by bragging about it is still a mystery to me.
They have marketed it phenomenally. Unbelievable. I mean, the Final Four, they have made it out to be the end-all, be-all. But we all know, growing up, whether you went to summer camp or, you know, it was the spring festival at your school growing up, and you're having relay races and whatever it may be, and you got like the yellow ribbon or the white ribbon. If you didn't get the blue ribbon, you're going, I don't want that. I mean, you didn't hit the trash can before you got to the parking lot. You know what? It's like, back in playing Y-ball, and everybody got a trophy. When every one of my kids' trophy was in the trash can before we hit the park. I don't want this, Dad. Throw it away.
Totally different.
I mean,
totally different.
We made the Final Four in the YMCA tournament. Did you win it? Well, no. Then throw that thing away.
That leads to unhappiness and frustration. I didn't really do anything because I never was Elon Musk.
You got to strive to be the best. Second place. What did Dale Earnhardt say? Second place is the first loser.
Striving to be the best? Absolutely. Could not agree with you more. So that's where it is. The striving for the best. Exactly. They were all striving for the best. So only one can do it.
Don't use the Final Four as a crutch. Now, we're not the best, but you know what? We made the Final Four. Does that make you feel better?
Celebrate your achievements.
You didn't win it all, but hey, we were one of the Final Four standing, and that makes me feel better. I'm going to be able to go through life tomorrow knowing that I made the Final Four.
Proud of what you accomplished. The memories that you made. This is so absolutely, totally foreign. John could be speaking Japanese right now, and I would understand him better than this blather he's talking about right now. He could be right. We could have Sanskrit subtitles on this, and I would have the same understanding of.
Here's the memory you don't want.
Jeez.
Getting to the Final Four. Hey, whoopee. But remembering how you were eliminated. That would be your most vivid memory. Maybe a double dribble that doesn't get called by an official.
A phantom foul on a 3-point shot in the baseline corner with time expiring.
And you got to live with that the rest of your life going, double dribble.
But you know what?
What?
People live with disappointments all the time. The thing that's funny about all this, and again, he's talking crazy. We talked about this over and over again. Indiana beating Oregon, first play of the game, pick six the other way. Ole Miss in their game against Miami, that was an absolute classic. That was one of the best football games I'll ever see.
That's great.
John doesn't even know that they played. 2 months later, John's like,
Sugar Bowl champs. Yeah, I'm sure they've got that trophy.
It was a terrific game.
It was a good game.
Goes out on the, the Ole Miss players go out. They did not chain their goal, but man, they played well. And you know how much value that has in John's eyes? Absolutely nothing.
It was great for them. Great memory, a lot of excitement, euphoria. But in 2 months, it's died down. They're looking ahead.
Just because you don't remember it.
Man, they're not harping on it. But I'm sure we'll hear a lot about the Final Four over the next couple of weeks, which we certainly, want to, because the NCAA tournament is approaching. And when we return, we're going to tell you how you could win yourself a 4-carat diamond from Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, valued well over $4,000. We'll tell you about that. I will say this, Barry, we do have a little schedule change today. Jason Caldwell is not going to be able to join us this morning. He is with Auburn baseball today. I'm not sure where the Tigers are going or where they're playing, but he's tied up with that. So certainly understand, and he'll join us next week. But we will check in with Rodney Orr at the top of hour number 2, the Tider Insider, and our man Bart Heisch, college basketball insider.
Great.
He will join us as well. I think he's got his voice back after calling a multitude of Alabama High School Athletic Association games last week in the tournament.
That's
looking forward to checking in with Bart.
All that's still to come. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Located just 8 miles north of Alabama's state capital, Capitol Hill features 3 18-hole championship courses. With more than 1,500 acres of golf and nature, the pure magnitude of this facility is amazing and allows each course to be drastically different from the others. Capitol Hill also features an innovative 360-degree driving range, 400 yards in diameter. Capitol Hill offers a fully stocked pro shop with the latest equipment and apparel.
Great food and beverages in the clubhouse can be enjoyed both before and after your round. Get your group together and hit the trail. Go to rtjgolf.com/Capitol Hill for tee times and more information.
Hey, bro, weirdest thing is happening at the game. This guy sitting next to me says, "You're our good luck charm. Every time I crack a Bud Light, we score a touchdown." Now his entire family wants to buy me Bud Lights. I think I'm some kind of a football prophet. Talk soon. The team needs me.
Anything for Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of the NFL. Stock up today. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025 Anheuser-Busch Bud Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're not buying sticks, stems, and pine cones. You're buying premium long-diddle pine straw from River Region Straw. Kenny and his staff have access to the best pine straw in the River region, full of color that will last all season long. Kenny has locations in Montgomery, Prattville, and Auburn, and no order is too big or too small, from a few bales to an 18-wheeler trailer load. Pickup is available, or your order can be delivered. They can even spread your pine straw if you like. So call or text Kenny today, 669-5959. That's 669-5959 for all of your pine straw needs.
Okay, 21 minutes past the hour here on this Thursday morning, Longshore McKnight. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Tell all your friends. Heck, tell all your enemies. It doesn't matter. Just tell them to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Check us out, of course, on Yellowhammer, yellowhammernews.com, the Yellowhammer Facebook page. I was talking to those guys at Yellowhammer yesterday, Barry, just telling me that, man, the numbers of people that are viewing our program on the Yellowhammer News Facebook page is just phenomenal, growing each and every day. We really appreciate that. You can check us out on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X, Spotify, Apple Tunes. So many ways to view and to listen and/or listen. Check us out. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. And it'll make you feel good for doing so. All right, the Final Four seems to be a topic today. And we've got a little thing going on called 4 for 4 in the Final Four. We're making, Barry, the Final Four as important as some people out there think it should be.
Not. This is baiting me. This is his take is maybe the most out of the realm of sanity take I've ever heard him say. Final Four, big deal. Celebrating losing. No, there were a lot of wins involved. Anyway, okay.
Just to let our new viewers and listeners, bring them up to speed. This is not the first time you've ever heard me say that.
I would have to say, look, we've been together 30 years, 6 times a year for 30 years, about 180 times. That's the 181st time that John has said the Final Four is no big deal. Now, it's about the 475th time that John has bragged about not knowing who played for the national championship in football or who won or who played in the Final Four in basketball. That's kind of a little bit more frequent because that goes on all year long.
Yeah, it is. And I've had a lot of people go, I'm not real sure who did play in the Final Four. This is like 3 months after the fact. But be that as it may, even when Auburn and Alabama made the Final Four, okay, good for them.
Last year.
So, okay, what about it? But we're doing something here to kind of put a little bit more attention to it. It's called 4 for 4 in the Final Four. We want you to pick the 4 teams that will make this year's Final Four in the men's NCAA basketball tournament. That's it. The 4 teams that make the Final Four and the total number of points that will be scored in the championship game, which will be played on Monday, April the 6th. So give us that information. Email it into longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. That's longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. We'll start taking entries Sunday when the brackets are announced. You'll have until Thursday, March the 15th, a week from today, to get your entries in by 11 a.m. Very easy. longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com. The Final Four teams and the total number of points in the championship game. You could win a 4-carat lab-grown diamond from our friends at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry.
Lyle tells me it's closer to around $5,000. But we wanted to keep the theme of fours together. Four for four in the final four. So we're using the phrase well over $4,000 in value. See, we're keeping the four routine.
I like it.
It is sponsored by our friends at Marguerite's Exquisite Jewelry, Bama Budweiser, Phoenix Physical Therapy, and the Montgomery Regional Airport. So get them into us. It begins on Sunday, 4 for 4 in the final four.
Yeah, just to clarify for some of you newbies out here, but John, the tournament doesn't begin on Thursday, March the 19th. Yeah. It begins with the first four in Dayton coming up on the 17th and 18th.
If one of those teams makes the final four,
serve it up, put them in there. The selection show is going to be Sunday afternoon, starts about 4-ish. They'll have the first four in there. If you look and you say, hey, all right, Quinnipiac, I kind of like the cut of your jib. I'm going to make you go all the way to the final four. Yeah. If you want to, absolutely. But you have to have your actual email into us, longshoreandmcknight@gmail.com, by the moment that the referee throws the ball up in the air for the tip for the first game.
That's exactly right. No excuses. We call it tough love, and we've heard them all, but we don't want to hear it. You know the rules. 11 a.m. a week from today, March the 15th.
March the 19th.
March the 19th at 11 a.m. None of this. My dog ate my homework. My car wouldn't crank.
Don't think, man, we're going to get over on John and Barry because believe me, any excuse you have for turning it in late, not only has John heard them all, he's tried them all.
Yeah.
See, teacher, I washed my car and I left the windows open and my paper was on the passenger seat. And I honestly, I did. If you just give me another day, so get them in when your email comes in to Longshore McKnight at gmail.com, right at the very top. It's got the date that it comes in and it's got the time that it comes in. We can't sit here sifting through thousands of emails going, I may let that guy in, or, that lady, she's at my church or something like that. We're just looking at it. Boop, delete, boop, delete, boop, delete. We can't sit here and listen to all of these sob stories. We got a humongous contest to run. Now, get them in, get them going. I've got to salute Auburn here.
Okay.
For just a moment. Give me a moment to develop this. Auburn wins yesterday. I was listening to it during the day. Andy Burcham, Randall Dickey, and the studio host was Jacob Hillman. They weren't feeling real good about things at halftime, although they were down at halftime by 3, I think.
Yeah, 33-30.
Yeah, down by 3 at halftime. Andy was pretty fired up because Auburn, their best scorer is Keyshawn Hall. Hall had been off to a good start. I was listening, and man, he looked good. He had 7 points in the first half, and then he got a technical late in the first half. He said something to somebody. And, dumb thing to do. What are you doing? What are you doing? And, the kid for old Mississippi State hit both free throws, really injurious. But it was his second foul. So they had to sit him for the rest of the half. And he was hot as a firecracker. Andy was not real happy about that.
God, so they sat him. What happened? Did nobody text me to go listen to that yesterday? Jeez.
It was, he wasn't happy about, it's not the technical foul. It's that he would even do anything to even be remotely considered for a technical foul. I think he was trash talking somebody else because he knew he was hot. And so in the second half, he comes out. He has 14. The real star was Kevin Overton. He hit 6 3-pointers for Auburn. And then things got, a little bit easier. Auburn got a little more comfortable, which is not when John likes to go out to the car and listen to it. He doesn't, Auburn outscores them by 21 in the second half. They're leading late. And there's another 3 by Overton. War Eagle, the Tigers are John ain't in there to hear that stuff.
That's what I'm changing the channel.
Now, when that kid was hitting threes all over the place for Mississippi State in the previous game that Mississippi State won, John would have gotten a coat hanger out and shoved it through the window. If he got his keys to get in there and listen to that one. But, the end of that one.
Barry, I was fortunate enough to be in my vehicle driving around when the second half started. I think it had already been on for 2 or 3 minutes. Auburn was pulling ahead and maybe switched the channel. I'm telling you, in like 30 seconds, the tone was completely different. State had hit back-to-back 3-pointers and was at the line to make it a 3-point play on a foul after a bucket was made. And I'm thinking, now this is getting interesting. I can just tell by the tone things have made a drastic turn. Unfortunately, I had to get out of my vehicle and go into an appointment. And when I got out of the appointment and checked my phone for the score, I went, wow. That seemed to be an interesting second half.
All right. So it was good. Auburn needed that win. And they got some help from people. Some other teams that are on the bubble, either last 4 in, first 4 out, that kind of thing. Texas lost to Ole Miss. That really helped. The Ole Miss athletic budget is the entire athletic budget is probably smaller than the University of Texas's basketball budget. And Ole Miss ends up winning it. Longhorn fans ain't happy. Texas lost. Indiana lost. Somebody else that lost. And Auburn won. Those bubble teams. That was a good day for Auburn. Now, but they've had to work hard for it. There was, and they've had to work. If they're going to turn it around, they need some players. There is a coach named Grant Leonard. He is the coach at a university in the Atlantic Sun Conference named Queens University.
Okay. Yep, heard of it.
The Queens Royals. My buddy Will spent the summer there, living there. Queens University. And, of course, they played Auburn earlier this year. And Queens has got a pretty good player that Auburn wouldn't mind having on their team. So Grant Leonard got a little frustrated, and he sent out a tweet lambasting the the Auburn assistant coach, who ended up, he didn't say it. He says there's a coach from an SEC school that bought a ticket to our tournament game so he bought a ticket at courtside. So he could be seen there at courtside when Queens University plays, so he can get a head start on recruiting this star player that Queens has. It has been identified, according to the Charlotte Observer.
I'm about to say, my anticipation is growing. Well, who is it?
Auburn assistant coach Ian Borders.
Don't know Ian.
Ian Borders. Well, John didn't know Auburn made the Final Four last year either.
Yeah.
Ian Borders bought a ticket to the first round ASUN tournament game of Queens University.
What are those ticket prices were?
I don't know, but he made sure. He was wearing his Auburn stuff, had the Auburn hat on. You know it. You've seen it. I'm not sure he didn't have the late, great Trent Mitchell's, floor-length tiger stripe trench coat on.
Yeah.
But he wanted that kid to know that, hey, there's an Auburn basketball coach right at courtside at our tournament. Auburn, I don't know if it was yesterday. I think it was, or the day before. But he called him out and everything. So Auburn's working hard. Auburn is committed to turning things around. They're already not recruiting, but that guy bought a ticket.
I would have been more impressed if it would have been Stephen Pearl on the courtside seat. Why not? Big deal. So what? It's free country. I can go watch whatever game I want to go watch. Who's counting?
I like it.
Was he over videotaping
John says,
like the Michigan coaches were doing in football?
Is it? Well, that was infamous, I would say. John's like, hey, is it cheating? Is there rules against it?
Yeah.
No.
It's a big deal.
Yep. But
yeah, I mean, if they got to go to Queens College to find a player, I got a little concern on that. Never seen this kid play, but just the fact that he plays in a conference I've never heard of, I can't watch him on TV, and I couldn't point Queens College out on a map if you paid me. But hey, besides that, maybe the kid's good.
Yep, maybe he is. I mean,
like
Alabama has gotten Grant Nelson from North Dakota State, and Mark Sears from Ohio University. But
I think they have a center on the football team from Cal San Luis Obispo, if I'm not mistaken. A transfer.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, we'll ask Rodney about him in about 20 minutes.
So anyway, I salute Auburn for working hard. Yesterday was maybe it was the day before yesterday, because I would hope Ian Borders is helping to coach the team yesterday in a must-win game in the opening round of the SEC against Mississippi State, instead of just sitting there on the sidelines at a Queens College game in the Atlantic Sun Conference tournament, just as simply a billboard. Look at this. I got my AU. I'd have that AU biggest day on the front of my hoodie and everything. None of this up in the
in this day and age, though, Barry, does he really need an AU or a dollar sign? I mean, that's what they're looking for. They don't care what the logo is. It's, hey, you got me careful. We're good. You got me worked out here.
Oh,
remember what we talked about?
When kid's not in the transfer portal. You know why not? Because the transfer portal ain't open yet. But if he is, they can say, hey, see, you're in the transfer portal. I'm not sure anybody is actually waiting for somebody to get into the transfer portal before they talk to him. I'm pretty sure they're not. But that's not a bad, first impression. Hey, oh, you saw me over there. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I was good.
So I'm trying to think of some value, Barry. If Auburn does make the NCAA tournament, would you say 17 and 15?
Yes.
Okay.
17 and 15.
17 and 15. And then there's a glimmer of hope. Some people are saying that they'll make the tournament.
Yeah. Joe Lunardi says they don't even have to win again.
Yeah. So what is the confidence level, the excitement level of the Auburn fan base that, man, I was a little worried, but we're in now. We are in. And is it, we're in, but we'll probably get bounced the first round.
Well,
or is it, you know what? I'm glad we're in. And if we can just go further than Alabama, that's our goal. If the Tide gets knocked out before we do, man, I'm going to feel a lot better about this season.
That one year that Alabama made the Final Four, I guarantee you that. Okay, we lost, but at least we went farther than Auburn did. I think some people are like our buddy Plainsman Preston, John. All right, we've got no chance. We've got a snowball's chance in Hades of beating Tennessee today. But, hey, after today, we'll be 17 and 16. Has a nice ring to it. 17, 16, one of Auburn's favorite number combinations out there from 54 years ago. 17, 16. First game Auburn John ever saw with the Auburn Tigers. So we'll take a break.
Hope they don't get Fairleigh Dickinson early if they make the tournament.
Or St. Peter's or somebody like that. That's what would happen. That's what I know some Auburn fans, that's what they would be concerned about. Okay, we make the tournament, skin of our teeth, we're in. Hey, we've made the tournament for X number of years and everything. And then in the first round, here comes Abilene Christian.
What was it, Yale or Navy or Princeton? Who beat them in the first round? Some Ivy League team? Should I know that? I think I'm close. Am I in the ballpark? Yale?
Later on, John will say, hey, I knew who did it. No, it was Yale. And just because John says Navy, Yale, some Ivy League, what? He counts that as a win. He says, oh, nailed it.
Sure.
Yeah. John says, I knew it.
I was huge in multiple choice testing.
Yeah.
Okay, those three, I knew it was one of those.
The wife says, hey, John, did you remember to do what I told you to?
Ooh.
Can you give me multiple choice on what it was? Was it take out the trash, wash the car,
feed the dog,
that kind of a thing? John stood a much better chance with multiple choice.
Yeah.
John actually liked an essay question. The War of 1812, 1,000 words. The War of 1812 was a war, took place in 1812.
Yeah,
A lot of
it was a bad
battles.
war.
Yeah,
it was a bad war.
Yeah, it was not all. But then again, all wars are bad.
All wars are bad.
Yeah, John would love an essay question.
Yeah.
Well, so that's the story there. Auburn. If you get to the NCAA tournament and your team is not really great, I mean, I admit that.
Yeah.
And you go in there and you lose to, I don't know, one of those Northeastern teams that nobody knows, like Ryder or Siena or Wagner or something like that. Man,
Wagner.
Look at the hot cup of coffee there. That's just
the missus just brought just brought me in.
Anytime you see John look to the side with a big smile on his face, it's because his wife brings him a cup of coffee unbidden. But you think, we made the tournament. We made the tournament. And then you get beat by Iona or something. And then Auburn fans afterwards, what do we even I'd have rather not even gone.
See,
wait
a minute. Made the tournament. Whoopee! Some schools even raise banners. NCAA tournament team. Well, yeah, there were like 68 other ones too. Big deal.
Yep. You'll see a few of those in plenty of different arenas around the state. But
what will have to happen? How far does Auburn have to go for Toomer's Corner to get rolled? Was it rolled last night?
In case anybody is keeping track there, in 30 years, that is the 750,000th time. Anything that positive happens at Auburn. Hey, Auburn had a guy that was an astronaut that made it to the space station. Did they roll Toomer's Corner? Hey, Auburn, the city of Auburn got a national citation for beautiful trees in the city parks. Did they roll Toomer's Corner? Everything positive having to do with Auburn leads to, hey, did they roll Toomer's Corner?
Yeah.
John thinks they only need to roll Toomer's Corner.
And Barry, my Auburn friends tell me, believe it or not, I have many, that, you just have to experience it. You can't describe it. You can't put it into words. You got to be there and just feel the energy and the bonding and the love and the spirit. I hope one day, Barry, to experience that live and in person.
Bob from Pike Road says, Barry, when was the last Iron Bowl Auburn won? 1972, 17, 16, and does feel that way. Yeah.
Well, okay. I will say that, Barry, that was he says the last Iron Bowl, that was my first Iron Bowl in person, was the 17-16 game, and that's 72, so I'm like 10 years old, 9 years old. There was a fight about 5 rows in front of us. Never forget it. I thought, hey, Pops, look at that.
Place for me. Yeah. Glad I'm here. Bill from Baltimore says, does John know who Iona's name and mascot is? Yeah.
I'm gonna take a stab here. Is
You're not going to get it
in the state of New York?
It is.
It
is in New Rochelle, New York. I think we said this a couple of
couldn't tell you what city, couldn't tell you the mascot.
They're in New Rochelle, New York, which, like we said before, is a setting for the Dick Van Dyke Show. Yeah. Rick Pitino used to coach Iona way back when. They had a great player named Jeff
That's cleared
Ruland.
Up.
And they are the Iona Gales. Gaels.
Yep. The Gales.
Yes.
All right, speaking of that, Barry, and I should have gotten to this a little earlier. Dennis texted you yesterday?
Yeah, about a coaching. I was at lunch. About coaching openings. There are a few. There's an opening at Georgia Tech. There were a couple of them that opened up yesterday. John and Barry, the NCAA should not expand the NCAA tournament teams in the tournament. I agree there. I do.
Wait a minute. Let them all in. Let's go. Let everybody have an opportunity to see. Why are you guys being so elitist? I'm saying we need more. We need more schools to be able to experience what postseason basketball is about.
Trust him, because that is exactly what John said about expanding the NCAA, the college football playoff. I say let more in, what is it John just said? Let more people experience the joy of being in a
postseason.
And then later on, when it got to be that way, it's like, what is James Madison doing in there? What in the Tulane? Wait a minute. Hang on. Whoa. See, he'll give you that sales pitch until it happens, and then it's like, yeah, we can give you really good financing on that house. Yeah, we can get you in okay, you contracted for it. Let's jack it up about 2 points. Now that I got you signed,
Yeah, so let's just don't limit. Let more people.
Don't
in.
Trust them on this.
I mean, there again, I don't have a problem with expanding the college football playoff. 24 is a little too much for me.
Yes, it is.
I don't want
16.
24. I'll go ahead and tell you that. But
12,
16? Yeah, I'm in. Why not?
Let's take a break.
Okay.
Oh, we need to take a couple of breaks here.
Well, we'll take one right before Rodney joins us. How about that? We can do one now and right before Rodney.
Catch up. Yeah, it's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
It doesn't matter if you're running drills at the park, playing pickup on a Saturday, or sinking the final putt. When you compete with your friends with Michelob Ultra on the line, competition isn't that friendly. The trash talk, next level, and the stakes, those are crystal clear. With only 95 calories and superior smooth taste, it's the ultimate trophy. Superior is worth playing for. Michelob Ultra, superior light beer. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2025, Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Why Hands? At Hands Heating and Air, you get this area's highest ranked service provider with 24-hour repair service, no overtime charges, and their same-day service guarantee. Plus, instead of other companies' 30-day repair warranty, Hands gives you a 3-year repair warranty. Hands Heating and Air is here for you 24/7, 365. And service is not just something they do, it's their way of operating, for you in mind. All of Hands employees are trained to adhere to this standard. They work hard to ensure that this standard is maintained, and they are constantly looking for new ways to better serve you. Call Hands Heating and Air today at 508-5382. That's 508-5382, or find them on the web at 834hands.com. Okay, back at it, 12 minutes or so until the top of the hour. Barry recapped what happened in Nashville yesterday, and Barry gets going again. It looks to be a little earlier today. Did they start at 11:30 yesterday? I thought it was 12 noon. Maybe it was. I saw a little bit of that Kentucky LSU game. LSU gave Kentucky all they wanted yesterday.
And the Kentucky fans, they were already ticked off. Admit it. They were already pretty PO'd about even having to be there at 11:30 on Wednesday morning. What are we doing? What are we doing here? So they weren't in a real happy mood anyway. And then Kentucky was putzing around, and LSU's not very good. They're number 16 seed for a reason.
Yeah.
And Kentucky was fortunate to get out of there with a 5-point lead. I mean, LSU was right there at the very end. Kentucky hit a shot, got some free throws, and all that. So they ain't real happy anyway. But they play again the first game of the day. Kentucky fans got to get up early, get to the arena. Anyway, so Auburn wins over Mississippi State 79-61. Auburn plays at 2 this afternoon against number 5 seed Tennessee. The winner
a
there
Tennessee
will
team
play
that I believe
Vanderbilt.
beat Auburn in Knoxville in the regular season. By like 8 points or something like that.
Yeah, the line
Tennessee
here I think is somewhere around 6.5.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. Another afternoon game for the Tigers.
Yep, and if they win, they're in that upper bracket. If they win, they'll play tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. Ole Miss beats Texas. Texas, bad season. They were the number 10 seed. Ole Miss wins that one by 10. They play Georgia in a rematch of a college football playoff quarterfinal game that was terrific.
I do remember that game.
Yeah,
now that you bring it up.
A quarterfinal game?
Yeah.
Are those? There's only 3 games that John remembers in the postseason. Indiana winning the national championship over somebody, blah, blah, blah. Alabama losing by 35 to that Indiana team. And he remembers Georgia and Ole Miss in a quarterfinal? Oh, well.
My daughter went to graduate school at Ole Miss, so I was a little interested in seeing how the Rebels ended up doing there. And of course, my wife is a Georgia grad, so that was kind of an interesting game. That was a tough night.
6:00 tonight, Georgia and Ole Miss. Yep. And then Oklahoma beats South Carolina. South Carolina coach Lamont Paris, they say he will be back next year, which is a good thing. Oklahoma moves on to take on Texas A&M at 8:30 tonight. I watched a good bit of it. I mean, I was busy all day, but I watched a good bit of it. And I'd like to kind of hang out, not just at the tournament. I've done that, but I wouldn't mind hanging out at the SEC Network studios because those guys are there.
They are. They're there a lot. I checked them out last night. Damian Fishback, I'm a big fan of. He's on the desk. The guy that looks like he's kind of Irish, I think he played at Arkansas. He's a snappy dresser. I can't think of the guy's name. I think Peter Burns and Dari Noko were up there as well.
Pat Bradley.
Pat Bradley, yeah.
I didn't think he was such a snappy dresser.
He said they're moving all of their best color analysts from game action to desk action, studio hosting.
See, I'm not down with that.
And
I'd much rather be
it has weakened their color analysts that broadcast the SEC network games. Hopefully, Barry, now that we're into the tournament action, there again, I didn't watch every game yesterday, so I don't know who was doing all the games. I want to say that I'm terrible with names, Barry. I hate to refer to this.
Sky's blue, water's wet. Yeah.
See the younger guy. He's one of the sports. He did the Alabama-Auburn game Saturday. I think he's good. But you'll see some Tom Harts and some of the A-listers doing the. Hopefully that'll be the case tomorrow night at 6 p.m. when Alabama faces the winner of today's Ole Miss Georgia game, I believe it is.
Yes. Alabama would play again as a number 2 seed. Here's what Alabama. We'll talk about it more tomorrow when they actually play. Here's what Alabama's got in front of them. They're the number 2 seed. They're already in the quarterfinals. The top 4 teams get a bye to the quarterfinals. All Alabama has to do is win 3 games and they're SEC champion. But I think, if they just win they are on the verge. Right now, almost all the bracketologists have Alabama as a 3 seed, which means they would take on a 14 seed in the first round. And that's doable for a 14 seed to win against a 3. If Alabama can get to be a number 2 national seed, and I think they can, they need to win 1, maybe. It'd be more comfortable if they win 2 in this tournament. So they got something to play for. Yeah, the jazz about winning the SEC champion. I do know that winning the tournament is not that big of a deal unless you're like winning 4 games in 4 days.
Yeah, that's kind of special.
Seed, and then you get the automatic bid. Otherwise, it's like, yeah, we won the SEC tournament. We knocked our heads against the wall, and we, played our brains out for 3 days, and we won the dadgum thing. But then we were spent, and we got beaten in the first round by Yale in the NCAA tournament. You ask anybody, which would you rather win, the SEC tournament or 1 game in the NCAA?
Portland State knocked us out in the round 1 of the NCAA tournament.
You don't
we were playing in Boise in front of 4,000 people and got run. That's a good question. Would you rather win the SEC tournament? Wimp was a big fan of winning the SEC tournament. He thought it was a big deal, kind of like Spurrier in football.
Kind of like Saban in football. But then he took care of business in the postseason too. So, but would you rather?
I think if I was a team like an Ole Miss, say, that won yesterday, if I'm an Ole Miss and I can go through the tournament, get to Sunday and win it, I think I'd rather do that than go to the tournament and lose the first game.
You can hang a banner for that.
Nobody remembers that.
Yeah, you can hang a banner for that. You can hang a banner for making the NCAA tournament. People do. But
it's all about, what do people remember? What lasting effect does it have on the fan base, the casual observer of college basketball? Hey, that Ole Miss team, they won that SEC tournament, but who they lost in the first round. I can't remember who it was.
He's suckering me in because he knows that I think that's a bunch of balderdash. That's a bunch of folderol. That's a bunch of horse feathers. It's all about what people remember about you.
Mm-hmm.
Disagree. If your entire life is spent trying to gain the approval of others, good luck to you. Because
I'm a big proponent of gaining the approval of others. It's kind of like first impressions.
There are people out there, I know this for a fact, who said, man, I don't like that John Longshore. And I guarantee you, John don't give two toots about that.
Well, I really don't.
Mr. I gain the approval of others. John, I think you are no good or whatever. And John's like, yeah, okay, all right.
But you've got to be able to
just give me my fries and let me go,
I mean, you can't judge me by what you heard on the radio for 30 years or have seen on television or on this very program.
No.
That Longshore, he's an a-hole. I don't like that guy. He's a smart ass, whatever. Then you get to meet me and we have a little, conversation for about 4 or 5 minutes and you walk away going, that guy's better than I thought. He's kind of a jerk on the air, but, one-on-one here in a group, John and Barry night at a Biscuits game, the guy's kind of nice.
And you think that, and you think, I stand corrected. He is a good guy, and he is. But then the next time you meet him and you realize he ain't got any clue what your name is.
Well, that could be true.
He was so interested in me. He was engaged with me, and he was, interested in what I had to say. And we had a nice little conversation. 2 days later, John says, hey, buddy, hey. Yeah, I remember you.
My filing system is not as good as it needs to be. I'll admit that.
Yeah.
I do. And for some reason, I've kind of had an issue with that all my life. Now, I've tried to get better remembering people's names. I write them down, which helps.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, there was a guy that not too long ago, I see him around from time to time, and I did not know his name. And I heard somebody say his name. His first name, and I wrote it down because I said, I'm going to address this guy by his first name the next time I see him, and it helped. It's helped a lot. Now there's others that I still. Some names are just tough.
One of my favorite bits in comedy, in stand-up comedy, was from Cedric the Entertainer. I can't say stop me if you've heard this because you're watching. You can't stop me. Cedric the Entertainer was at a family reunion one time, barbecue and all that stuff. And a guy comes up to him and he says, hey, my name is Demetrius, but you can call me Bemalicious. And he said, he's shaking hands. He said, excuse me? He says, yeah, my name's Demetrius. You can call me Bemanicious. All right, Bemanicious. He said, yeah, just call me Bemanicious. And so, they'd meet each other at other barbecues and stuff like that. Hey, Bemanicious, how you doing? And all that kind of stuff. And later on, he said, hey, what is that guy's deal? He's telling somebody, what is that guy's deal? Oh, that's Demetrius. Everybody calls him DJ. Everybody just calls him by my initials. Oh, I've been calling him Bemanicious, and he was saying you could call me by my initials. So yeah.
Now, I do know a lot of people's nicknames. I can remember nicknames and refer to them as nicknames. I've introduced people by their nickname because I did not remember their real name. I've had that happen before.
John, also, this is a memory aid because he's done that with me. There are guys that we only see once a year at SEC Media Days, and John will say, he'll say, "There's that guy again," and I'll say, "What guy?" And he says, "Comb over Ole Miss guy with the plaid shirt." Now that is as true a story as I can. That is true. I said, "John, don't you know his name?" "No, I know him as comb over Ole Miss guy with the plaid shirt." So he does have that guy, that short kid from South Carolina. And his brother.
An arena that there's so many people. We've seen them so many times over the years. I just can't remember all their names.
Well,
so there's a lot of hey buddies and big mans at SEC Media Day. There's no doubt about that.
As you go along every year, "Hey, how you doing? Good to see you again. Did you have a nice summer? Are you having a nice summer?" And man, that is great. And you do it so many years that after 10 years, "Hey, how you doing?" and everything. Do you even know my name? We've known each other for 10 years. And you get to a point where, and you've had this happen, people, you guys over here on the chat line, where you've been at a dinner party or you've been at a family reunion, big family and all that, and you've talked to this guy for years and years and years, and it's embarrassing at that point to say, "Man, I'm going to have to ask him what his name is at some point."
Sometimes I'll go to, "Once again, what's your name again? I'm sorry. I know we've met." I've done that before, but if somebody does blatantly go, "You don't know who I am, do you?" And I will look, and I've had people say that to me, and I'll go, I cannot remember. I'm sorry. Don't try to weasel your way out of it. You're already done.
Yeah.
When they throw that card on the table, "You don't know who I am, do you?" Just go ahead and say, "No, I don't."
No, I don't.
Because if you try to wiggle your way out of that one, you're going to dig deeper and deeper.
Katharine Hepburn was in an interview one time with Phil Donahue, and he said the same. He said, "You have no idea who I am, do you?" And she says, "Well, no, I don't." And that just shattered him. Anyway, we'll take a break.
You gotta be truthful. Yep.
When we come, of course, she was about 86 years old.
Yeah,
so,
that's true.
When we come back, Rodney Orr, Tighter Insider. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light. You know what?
What? Well,
I say maybe not.
I think I got it here. Maybe.
Yeah.
Do I? I think so.
All right. Well, we'll have to.
Maybe not.
We'll have to do something. Can you figure out how to get that off?
I don't know what happened there. We had a roadblock, but I know Rodney Orr, the Tighter Insider, is joining us here today. Brought to you by our good friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market. It is crawfish season. They got the spicy boiled and the live crawfish for you. Just call ahead 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. 3750 Norman Bridge Road. Crawfish season is here, and they've got all you want at the Destin Connection.
Rodney.
Hey, Rodney.
Good morning.
How you guys doing?
Doing well. What's going on with you? How is it? I was in Tuscaloosa earlier this week, and every time I go to Tuscaloosa, there's always something new being built or something going on. It's a growth industry over there, Rodney.
Yeah. I guess the Saban effect is still in play here.
Yeah. No
it's incredible how it's been built up. But what'd you see new this time?
Well, there's let's see, over there. We drove by it. It's not on Bryant Avenue. It's over there near the quad. They have a new building over there just off the quad to the far side of it. And now I wish I had written down, because they have
probably got to narrow it down. There's so many new buildings.
Yeah, no kidding.
Going up.
No kidding.
Yeah. I was up there last weekend myself.
I was to the quad.
I know it was the basketball game on Saturday. I was in Tuscaloosa Friday and Saturday, but I was blown away how many people were just in Tuscaloosa, around campus, downtown. I know there was a lot going on with parents' weekends and a lot of other activities and whatnot. But Barry's right. I mean, the construction going on up there, Rodney, and you ride through the neighborhoods. They've torn down some old place, and they're building a 3-story triplex where it used to stand for student housing.
Yeah, it's crazy. When I was in school here 40 some odd years ago, there was 14,000 students.
Yeah.
And now what is it, 40? Somewhere around 40?
Unbelievable.
Unreal.
So yeah, it's crazy.
All right. So it's been a little while. Alabama opened spring practice on Sunday, and we've talked with you for years about this. The first couple of days are just kind of administrative days. Anything? I know they've had some pads on. Give us an update. What exactly is going on? What exactly is the vibe right now in spring?
Well, let me say, like you said, they have had 2 days. This is practice number 3 today. And actually, there is a media viewing period today, the first media viewing period of spring. And there's only 2, and then, of course, a day. So 3, if you want to count that. So we'll get a really good up-close glimpse today that gives you a better idea of what they kind of look like. But the vibe, of course, now listen, I want to be clear, and I'm not trying to be funny here. This is a very positive coaching staff. I mean, I think if you'll listen to Kalen DeBoer and, some of the things that you hear him say, even behind the scenes, it's always positive. It's always optimistic. But it does sound like that there's a lot of really, positive vibes right now, I think, from the start of practice, but also what led into practice. The fourth quarter program seems to have gone very, very well, at least according to the, some of the inside sources we have. But yeah, as far as individual names, I think from the first day, first couple of days, the things I heard was Ryan Williams is back on track. Or Ryan Coleman Williams, I should say.
That's good to know.
Number 1, Ryan Coleman Williams.
So we'll see about that, but it does sound like that he had a really good offseason, and that, first couple of days he looked like the Ryan Williams of old, now Coleman Williams. But then also I'm hearing some really positive things about Austin Mack. I'm just hearing that the way he manages the offense, the things that he has to do in terms of making calls and protections and all of those things. He's done an outstanding job. Doesn't mean that Keelan Russell hasn't. I just think the experience that Mac has in the system has kind of shown up the first couple of days. This is year number 4. We're going into year number 4 that he's been in this system. So I've heard that. And then there's several of the new faces that we're hearing big things about, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Of course, we know the offensive line will have several new faces, but we're hearing some really positive things about the guys who've come in and what they might be able to do this year.
And we talked about it last week in terms of the offensive line. Hey, that's the good news, or at least it is with a lot of Bama fans. From based on what they saw last year, they think having 4 new guys has got to be an improvement. We will see. Since there's no transfer portal after spring like there used to be, you mentioned Austin Mack. I guess if he does emerge from spring as the number 1 guy, that's positive for this coaching staff in terms of maybe having Keelan Russell. He's got to stick around, can't go anywhere.
Well, yeah, a couple of things here. I really think this battle is going to be kept real down home, close within the building. And we're probably not going to hear much in terms of separation. Now, maybe some observers at scrimmages will tell us about the separation that they see. But I think this coaching staff is going to keep this really close to the vest all the way up to the very end in August. As far as leaving, and I'm not saying this about Keelan Russell, I think it's just an interesting overall suggestion that we've heard is that even though there's not a portal, that it's not going to stop kids from unenrolling from school and going somewhere else. Now, I know the NCAA has come out with some threatening rule or trying to make it a rule where, schools would be penalized, coaches would be penalized if they took a player from another school. But the way things are right now. And basically, these kids have all the control. And so if they decide to move on, maybe that's something we might see in the spring. That's something that I think post-spring we need to watch and see. If you hear a kid, and I'm not saying Alabama, just anywhere, say, hey, I'm unenrolling from this school and I'm going to that school.
Huh. That sounds like an assistant coach going to watch a game and kind of making sure the guy knows, hey, I'm here if you want to unenroll.
All right, let's see. The Daily Auburn reference with the Rodney Orr visit has now been done. I can check
mark that
off.
And we can get back to that.
There we go. The additions to the offensive staff. Coach Clem, what are your impressions of him as they get started? What would you be looking for from him today in the viewing period?
Well, I think a lot of this is pretty much just the same stuff. Offensive line coaches, you just watch and listen to them. They're all usually pretty vocal. I think whatever that means, but it's I can go back to, Neil Callaway, Jimmy Fuller, but Neil Callaway, you go on and on and on and how vocal that they are, and how they teach. I think that's another thing, how they relate to the players. You can kind of see that. So, but the things that I hear so far, again, it's early, but there's a lot of positive vibes about kind of his philosophy, which is more a physical type mentality up front with the techniques and the things that they do. But that'll be interesting to see how much adjusting they do in that regard, because, this group kind of has their own style, and Grubb is rooted in the offensive line himself. So, again, I think it's a positive move, or it sounds to be positive right now.
Well, everything does seem to be that way, but as we've talked about before, you got to deliver, and I know that's what spring's about, and that's what the summer and the off season is about. But certainly, and I'm picking this up as well, the attitudes are better, the work ethic seems to be ramped up in the weight room and off season drills and things of that nature. So maybe there's a little extra motivation, determination, and embarrassment from the last time out. And there's no doubt this coaching staff, in particular the head coach, knows there's some pressure on him. He's got to deliver in year 3, and I think the team realizes that too.
Well, here's the thing, and this is just from my perspective, because I have to relay the information to the readers of Tighter Insider.
Sure.
And it's gotten to the point, frankly, that I have to put what would you call it? Let's just put it this way.
A filter.
Disclaimer. That's exactly the word. Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Yes, a disclaimer when I present positive news. Because they don't buy into it.
Right.
Because there was a lot of positive vibes last year.
Yeah.
And listen, here's the crazy thing. Alabama did go 11-4. They did win a playoff game. Sure. They did do some really, really good things. But I think the way we saw some things unfold, which we talked about Florida State and the blowouts at the end, people doubt. And I'm not saying all people, but there's a large segment of the fan base who have a lot of doubts.
Well, let me put it this way, Rodney. You know it. All other media members know it. There's only limited windows in which you are able to watch this team, and most of the time they're doing jumping jacks and up downs.
Yeah, that's
You're not
true.
seeing them scrimmage and do drills. Unlike former players in the SEC that get unlimited access to these scrimmages and these practices, and then come out in the media and say, oh, the offensive line is dominant, looks great, unbelievable. This team's got national championship written all over them. That's the problem I have. Where's the accountability to these guys that are spewing it out there last August, talking about how great this team's going to be, and they look like crap against Florida State in that first game? I'm thinking, wait a minute. These former SEC players who are watching them saying, oh, this team's unbelievable. When do they catch it?
I don't know. I don't know.
With that disclaimer being out there, you are seeing some positive things.
Well, yes. I mean, I think that, again, I'm going to go back to what I've said. Just so many new faces. And when you look at the offensive line, there could be 3 or 4 starters that weren't even in this program a year ago. On the defensive side, some of your key players are going to be guys that weren't in this program a year ago. Now, I understand that happens everywhere now with this transfer portal. So it's not just Alabama that you see this, and people are facing the same thing in terms of developing chemistry and familiarity and all of those things, because you've got so many new players that you're going to count on. Used to not be this way. But with that said, I mean, all we can really do is go based on what the feedback we get. It's going to be interesting to see this offensive line, how they kind of come around. You've got a new quarterback. There are a lot of questions about this football team, no doubt. I mean, I can't remember a team, and I'm not really talking about 2007, Saban's first year and all that. We knew about that. But I can't remember a team, John and Barry, that an Alabama team in the last 30 years maybe that's had this many question marks.
Interesting and honest.
Doesn't mean that they're not going to be good and be successful, but there are a lot of new new faces that present questions.
Well, new quarterback, new offensive line. Do they have a dominant running back? Is the defense going to be as salty as we've seen in the past? I'm with you, Rodney. I think there are a lot of questions about this team. I think as we go through spring and summer, maybe there'll be other people out there that might question some of these position groups as well. We have a viewer that wanted to know the extent of the injury to London Simmons.
Oh, I think he's okay, but I mean, again, I think he had a back procedure or something. I say that. I want to be clear. There's a few guys that are out. And I don't have the list in front of me, but obviously Bray Hubbard's one that's going to be limited. Xavier Brown's going to be limited. Different guys. William Sanders at left guard, which he could have really used this spring, in my opinion, is going to be limited. So, but I think London Simmons will be okay. And he had a really, really good freshman year, on the defensive line. They need him. Now, with that said, I'm hearing a lot of positive things about some of the defensive linemen they brought in. Terrence Green from Oregon, 6'6", 330, dominant kind of figure in the middle. Not Jeremiah Beeman, Kedrick Bingley Jones from Mississippi State. Hearing a lot of really good things about him. Devin Tompkins from USC, great things about him. So those 3 guys, along with hopefully the return of Jeremiah Beeman and London Simmons and some others, Edric Hill, Isaiah Fanga, those type of guys, hopefully this defensive line takes another step. So hearing good things about them.
It's interesting because, when DeBoer got there, I was surprised about how well he recruited immediately, but you could kind of play it off as well. It's still the Saban effect and the afterglow and the aura of what he meant to the program. But here he is, another recruiting class. Now that the dead period's over with, and everybody's still waiting for some sort of a step down, some sort of a lull in recruiting at Alabama under Caleb DeBoer. And Rodney, it ain't happening.
Yeah, so far, I mean, it's he's got a couple of top 5 classes, obviously.
Yeah.
He's done really, really well in that regard. The people who said he couldn't recruit, well, they've been proven wrong. He's done a fantastic job, especially in the Southeast where he had no roots. But yes, I mean, they've had guys visiting over the last several days since spring started. I mean, Hayden Stepp, who we mentioned last week, a cornerback, 5-star cornerback out of Las Vegas. They've had some top offensive linemen come in. LaMarcus Jones from Jackson Callaway over in Mississippi. Caden Moss from Jackson Academy over in Mississippi. Those are 2 of the best offensive tackles in the country. Really good players. Of course, they recruiting hard in state. King Hall is a 4-star five-star corner from Dothan who's been in. A.J. Pauley is a guy they really like from Mobile down at McGill-Tulane as a defensive lineman. They had a five-star edge player, Anthony Sweeney from Olney, Maryland's already been in, and they've got a list of others coming in. We've kind of covered a little bit of it there on our update last night on TiderInsider.com. We got Ishmael Kamara coming in from Texas, one of the top interior offensive linemen, about 6'6", 340. Supposed to come in this weekend. So you get the drift. They're still attracting and bringing in and laying the foundation for another really outstanding class.
Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, joining us as he does each and every Thursday, brought to you by our good friends at the Destin Connection Seafood Market. It is crawfish season, and they've got plenty of the spicy boiled and live crawfish for you. Call ahead, 288-4272. Your order will be ready for pickup. They can actually cook them up for you, or you can take them home and cook them up yourself. 3750 Norman Bridge Road, the Destin Connection. Rodney, there will be a basketball game tomorrow night involving the Crimson Tide. I know we spent the bulk of this interview talking about football and spring practice, but the Tide coming off, I guess it was a big win. I mean, into the regular season, I guess they had to play, but now they head to Nashville to take on the winner of today's Georgia Ole Miss game. And I guess they do come into this game with a little positive momentum.
They certainly come in my opinion, with positive momentum, and depending on how they kind of build on that, certainly going to be important here. I think won 9 of the last 10 SEC games, which was just amazing to me. The run that they got on, and the way after the way they responded in that Florida blowout. So it's been pretty amazing. Here's the thing, John and Barry. I've talked to a few Alabama fans, and when I say outside the Tider Insider forum, just people that you talk to, and they're like, yeah, really, I don't even want to play but a game or two in this tournament. Win a game, then let's if we lose game 2, that's okay. We want to get ready for the NCAA tournament. This is not that big of a deal. Now, could it help you potentially if you won the SEC championship, tournament championship? Could that put you in a position to maybe go a higher seed to number 3? I don't know. Maybe it could, but that's just kind of the feel among some Alabama fans is, hey, let's get in this thing, win a game, get out of it, and move forward.
Yes, and they have the wherewithal to, again, if they win a game or two, to what Rodney's point is, then they could be up to a 2 seed in the tournament and could really make some noise. That's a team that's fun to watch. They're a team people are going to be looking for in the tournament. Rodney Orr, Tider Insider, joins us. A lot of things going on with spring practice and with recruiting and with basketball and with baseball. That's why I was there on Tuesday. How do people get involved with all the coverage and all of the conversation you have on the website, Rodney?
Right. It's TiderInsider.com. It's only $48 a year. We've been $48 now, guys, for over 20 years.
What was the original price, Rodney? I was trying to think about that.
Okay, so the original price when we first started, I think it was like because when we started, it was like less than $25.
Yeah,
and then then the next year we went up to 36.
That's
and
right.
then probably about 6-7 years later we went up to 48, and we've been that ever since. But yeah, it's only $48, and again, it gives you the premium information. We talked about the recruiting and all the other things. Hey, we're going to have an on the hoof report. Should have one today after practice. So all of those things on TiderInsider.com.
Appreciate you, Rodney. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, guys.
We'll talk next week. Rodney Orr, the Tider Insider, brought to you exclusively by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Go by and see our friends. They're filling out some brackets over at the Destin Connection. Range Pro took a picture of them. Everybody there at Destin Connection's got to fill out a bracket. So, but I got to hop in there and see who's got the best bracket.
Yeah,
this is an SEC tournament bracket that they're dealing with right now. Then they'll get to the bigger one. Barry, I don't want to. I just want to make sure. I didn't want it to come across that I was discounting that last regular season win by the Crimson Tide on Saturday. I hope it didn't come across like that.
Oh my gosh, that's 2 Auburn digs to Rodney, who never seems to take the bait. It's just, man, it's constant. It's constant. People say, why can't you come? I can't keep up with it. I can't.
Yeah.
Oof,
now,
man,
how do you take this, Barry? Chris the Bammer says, Rodney, a mere 23 minutes?
Yeah.
Isn't that average?
Well, no, it's usually about 28 or 29, but
okay.
We can get out here, which is even then still a little bit, a good bit late. We can get out here. Maybe we can get the Daily Dog, and then we can get Bart Heisch on time. Coming up, Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light. Oh, I was hoping that was good.
Yeah.
Hang on.
Prattville Carpet is the most trusted name in flooring in the River region. Ray Bowles and his staff have an extensive line of Mohawk stain-resistant carpeting in all the latest styles and colors. Prattville Carpet also has hardwood, vinyl, and ceramic tile for all of your flooring needs. Professionally installed at the absolute lowest prices. Take advantage of cash and carry vinyl plank at just $239 a foot. Call them today to set up your free measurement for your home, office, lake house, hunting camp, or wherever you need flooring. 285-8117. That's 285-8117, or drop by 2201 Cobbs Ford Road in Prattville for Prattville Carpet.
Ram Truck Month is here at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. New Rams, 19 grand off or 0% for 6 years. And heavy duties, 14 grand off. Backed by Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. Ram Truck Month is here at Stivers, Alabama's #1 volume CDJR dealer. New Rams, 19 grand off or 0% for 6 years. And heavy duties, 14 grand off. Backed by Ram's 10-year, 100,000-mile limited warranty. Only at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The President's Day.
The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here. Hey, folks, how often do you think about your roof? Probably not often at all. I know I didn't until I needed a roof replacement. And I call my friends at Roof Life. Whether it's roof inspections, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, Roof Life is there for you. They use the highest quality products, top quality craftsmanship, and if you're like me, your roof can be replaced in one day. So if you're in need of a roof inspection, roof repair, or insurance roof replacement, get in touch with my friends at Roof Life today. You can go to roofyourlife.com. That's roofyourlife.com, or dial them up locally at 334-306-6712. That's 334-306-6712.
The Bush Guide, cold and smooth survival skills. For a successful stint in the great outdoors, pack accordingly. Place heavy essentials near your spine for stability in rough terrain, with light items near the bottom. Now, you may be wondering, where does the Bush Light go? In your stomach. Bush. Head for the mountains. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2023, Anheuser-Busch, Bush Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Stivers Ford of Montgomery has F-150s over 16 grand off plus 2.9%. And your last chance for a tax credit on Lightnings. 17 grand in savings or 0% or $349 a month with zero down.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Fords.
Stivers Ford of Montgomery has Broncos under 35 grand. Bronco Sports under 24 grand. Rockies under 29 grand or $299 a month with zero down. And new Explorers 10 grand off or 2.9%.
Stivers Ford, where price sells Ford.
Oh, there we go. Now we're back. I was wondering, we had a little glitch there. I'd bury the Daily Dog. Well, let's just go ahead and rip the Band-Aid off. We had Mississippi State plus 7.5 yesterday. They tried to make a game of it in the second half there for a minute.
Pretty good at halftime. Halftime, you're thinking, okay, all right, halfway home. And I never got the sense in the second half, even when they pull close, that they had the firepower to get it done. They end up losing to Auburn 79-61. They get outscored in the second half by 21. Thanks, Mississippi State.
Yeah. Thanks. Really appreciate that. That's it happens. It just
dogs to be a dog.
That's just the best way to explain it. It happens. So we're going to look to today, Barry. And I know a lot of people are thinking, okay, well, he's probably going to go maybe back to Nashville to the SEC tournament. No, not so fast, my friend. Not so fast. Barry, we are going to Charlotte, North Carolina.
Queen's University, who Auburn coaches are trying to poach a player from.
It is the Queen City.
Yes, I
believe.
All right.
We're going to Charlotte where the ACC tournament is being held.
Very nice. Very nice. I always loved that. I've been to ACC tournament games when I was a kid. ACC tournament used to be in Greensboro all those years. It was great. Still one of my favorite tournament experiences. And it looks like the Phantom has got 4 games to pick from today.
There are 4, Barry, but we're going afternoon slate here. I believe it's the second game today. I believe so. Maybe I need to check that. It is at 1:30 on ESPN2.
That is game 2 featuring the Louisville Cardinals and the Miami Hurricanes.
Yep, Miami, 24-7 overall, 13-5 in the ACC, taking on a Louisville team that is 23-9 overall, 11-7 in ACC play. Miami and Louisville getting together, Barry. They're getting together for the second time in less than a week because Louisville and Miami faced off one another in Louisville, where the Cardinal won 92-89, eked out a 3-point win at home.
Score fest. A lot of points.
Yeah.
In that game. What about today?
The rematch is today on a neutral site. Don't think fans are going to be, probably a little more Louisville fans than Miami. I'm not sure. Miami fans don't show up for football if it's a crappy team.
Correct.
I'm not sure their fan base is going to be in Charlotte for a 1:30 tip today against Louisville, but
in basketball, yeah.
I don't think the crowd's going to be that big of a factor. I'm taking the Miami Hurricanes plus 1.5 against Louisville in a revenge game against a team that's got a worse record in both overall and conference standing than Miami does. We're taking the Canes, the U, plus the 1.5 in ACC tournament basketball this afternoon. That's an early start at 1:30. So check your tip time to make sure you don't miss out.
Again, other than day 1 and 2 of the NCAA tournament, this week is my favorite week because, you've got games wall to wall all day. ACC, 4 games today, starting at 11, ending last game tips at 8:30. SEC, same deal. You can watch a ton of them. We love it almost as much as our buddy Bart Heiss loves him from Alabama high school basketball tournament play. Bart joins us here. What were your emotions when it finally hit you, Bart, that the state high school tournament was over with? It was done for another year, and you're going to have to wait. That was tough on you, wasn't it? Uh-oh. Let's see if we can get Bart.
You're going to get Bart's mic turned on.
There we go. Got it.
You got it now?
Yeah,
there we go. What you got?
It seems like that every year, Barry. It's about takes till about Wednesday. I'm gonna tell you something, man. The booth is harder than doing games. Standing there, I think when you're doing a game, you're so locked in. You know this, Barry. But when you're watching a game and a million people are coming up to talk to you, over and over and over, and you're obviously going to say hey to everyone, and there's so many relationships, but it's hard to pay attention to what's going on in the game, like the actual flow. And so when you have to analyze every single game, those first 3 or 4 days, it gets to Wednesday, and then it kind of switches when I start doing the actual calling of the games. And so by Friday, it's about when we get to the 6A, I'm like, man, this is almost over. But this week was tough. Full transparency, man. I'm pretty sure it was strep. You know, I'm not really go to the doctor guy, but man, I got sick Barry Tuesday. Head, throat, and just battled through. I think I got 7 or 8 people sick. I've had quite a few texts about that, but
thanks a lot.
It was a great week, and I just love, you know, seeing all the small towns come out, seeing all the bigger schools come out and support their teams. And so we had some surprises. We had some constants, if you will. But Barry, I did want to shout you out and say congratulations on your Troy Trojans. And y'all mentioned a buddy of mine, Grant Leonard, Queens University, a really good friend of mine.
You talked about him before,
as well as Robbie Coker and Bill Armstrong down at McNeese. And so having all those folks and Scott Cross on our show on Press Box, it's been a cool year for us. So we've got like quite a few teams to follow. But Barry, I know that was huge for you, man. 2 in a row. Congratulations. I know how much you put into this and how much you love those Troy Trojans, and excellent old school jacket on championship.
Yeah. I put a video out on social media. It's a reversible jacket. The other side's Cardinal, but I kept wearing the satin gray side because we'd won with that one on there. The job.
I want to ask you about the tournament. Because you were sitting there covering every game, basically. What'd you think about the MA team that won the state championship back to back?
I told A-Rant that you know, sometimes you just really can't see defensive excellence on film, and I didn't see it the last 2 years, the way that they guarded people. I mean, the way that Montgomery Academy got up in Southside Selma, I mean, they couldn't run anything. They couldn't do anything. And I just think the way that Jeremy A-Rant teaches defense, the way they get out and really exploit transition and turn turnovers into offense, that there's just actually both Montgomery 3A teams, St. James girls as well, very similar. There were no gaps really anywhere. Some games ended up being blowouts. You know, Winona, maybe that might have been a gap between them and everybody else. But the 3A girls and boys, those Montgomery teams, solid. Shout out to Katie Barton, Nat Barton, good friends of mine. And but I love the MA team, a team that didn't actually shoot it great throughout the course of the season, but didn't have to. They were just so tenacious defensively, and the efficiency of shots that Montgomery Academy took throughout the course of that tournament was probably as high as anyone.
All right, so now after day one of the SEC tournament, Kentucky wins, but they're ticked off about being there in day one. Mississippi State gave up the big run in the second half against Auburn. Set up today in the SEC tournament. What is anybody really playing for? Is Auburn in the tournament? What do you think about Kentucky, Missouri? Just riff on this, day two in the SEC tournament.
I like Ole Miss today. I picked them yesterday.
Right.
I think they are the one team that sorely under achieved with their talent. I think they got some players. I think Store's a player. I think D is a pro. Some of those shots he was making, the jump shots, I mean, you can tell what it looks like. And I like Comerdine. I like the point guard as well. And last night they were really good, Barry. I know a lot of people probably didn't watch that game.
Yeah.
But they were good, man. And they guarded. And it looked like a Chris Beard tournament team, if that makes sense.
It does.
And we finally saw it. And he can coach, and this is his element. We've seen that. Little Rock, and Texas, and Texas Tech.
Yeah.
So that would be my most intriguing game of the day that nobody's probably paying attention to, because Ole Miss can match up with Georgia just like they could match up with – they got a couple of bigs that can guard. I like Missouri today
against
Kentucky. Sometimes you do like to favor the team that I think played a game. But again, I like Dennis Gates, and I just think he's a really good basketball coach. And Missouri's just really big, and they guard you. Saw him guard Mississippi State in the half court. I think Auburn plays well today. John, sorry to tell you that, but I do.
Well, I had Mississippi State the number yesterday, so I didn't want to bring it up, Bart. But
I don't think it was a terrible. I don't think it was a terrible play, especially for a long time. Here's the thing. It was bad. I mean, some of those shots Josh Hubbard took there toward the end, I just didn't like.
Yeah.
And there's a few all year I haven't liked. And just the defense of State, from 10 minutes on, when Auburn really hit that other gear that like, hey, this is urgent and we got to get to the tournament, State laid down. And you don't see that from Chris Chan's teams much. You saw it some this year. But I do believe that Overton's experience, I've talked about it on shows before. I really like him, and he showed up yesterday. Pettiford's going to be Pettiford. He's going to make some plays where he takes a shot and falls down and gives up a three on the other end, all those type things. But you could tell that, Keyshawn Murphy and Overton and Hall at times, this could be their last, hurrah. And I like Auburn today, John.
I hear you.
And I'm just not – the only thing with Tennessee is they're so big and so strong inside. I don't think the guard play has been excellent. If Auburn can get out and run in transition like they did yesterday, that they're pretty good. So I think we're in for a good one with that one. And then tonight, I like Oklahoma. I think Porter Moser's team's playing as well as anybody in the league at the right time. They've won 8 out of 9 games, and we've seen they can give you problems on the interior. They can give you problems. But pressure defense, getting up in your shooters. And he's a tournament coach. We've seen what he's done. So I'll take the tournament coaches over the non. Now, I will say this. I like Arkansas coming out of this bottom bracket to win the whole thing if they get out of that first game. Sometimes it takes Cal teams like Elaine, and he may use that and say that, hey, we're looking on for the next deal and whatever. So tournaments are weird with Cal sometimes. But I like Oklahoma tonight. I think it's a good matchup for them. And if Oklahoma wins tonight, they're staring one more win in, and the SEC's looking at 11. And Auburn really needs to get shaky it will get shaky because I don't know that Auburn and Oklahoma get in if Oklahoma wins 2 more games.
That was what I was going to ask you. Is Auburn already in, or do they need to beat Tennessee?
Well, it would have really helped them if UCF hadn't gone on that 8-0 run to win the game yesterday against Cincinnati. UCF is on the same line. SMU losing yesterday, I think, inches Auburn closer. I think it comes down to Auburn and SMU, and I think it comes down to today. If Auburn wins today, they're in. If Auburn loses today, they're out. It's kind of just come like that because you're going to have a couple of bid stealers, Barry. And if you have more than 2, that's the number. If there's 3 bid stealers, Auburn really will be shaky if they lose today. But I just feel like if they win today, man, they've got a lot of quality wins. They overcame the loss against Mississippi State. Anytime you lose to a bad team and then you have an opportunity to beat them team and square that, I think that kind of goes a long way. So, and they looked good defensively in the second half yesterday. They looked interested. And I think that's what a lot of people are interested.
It's a good way to put it. They looked interested. They certainly didn't look interested in Tuscaloosa Saturday night.
No,
you mentioned Missouri. And I'm with you, Bart. People ask me, give me everybody's going to talk, Florida, Arkansas, Alabama, Tennessee. But how about some teams that maybe could sneak up and win it all? Missouri was one of mine. You mentioned them. Vanderbilt was my other one. What do you think about the Commodores?
I like their draw because if it's Auburn, they're going to catch Auburn on 3 days, 3 games in 3 days. I think they went through that. Duke Miles is back, right? And he's fully healthy. Is that – do we know that?
Mm-hmm. I don't know about fully, but yeah.
But he's back.
Yeah.
And then he just is a difference maker on whatever team he plays on. And so getting him back, I think – everybody's kind of healthy now. Alabama's healthy. Vandy's healthy. I like them. I like them because they can outshoot people. And I think they've got one of the best guards in the country in Tanner that nobody knows about. And he's the type of guard that could like really get going in a neutral setting and just get on a roll. I like them in transition. And when they have really been attacking the offensive boards, not necessarily getting all the offensive boards, but attacking the offensive glass, they're doing that a lot better than they were doing earlier in the year. And when they do get some of those, they're getting pitch outs for threes. And so I like this Vandy team. I like them more than a lot of Vandy teams that we've seen go into the tournament and have a lot of expectations and not do things, because I really think Mark Byington can coach.
Saw him at JMU and Georgia Southern, and all that. I'm totally with you there. Elsewhere, I love the week. I love the week because I'm watching ACC, I'm watching Big Ten, I'm watching Big 12, but I'm also watching Northeast and all that. What are you watching this week? What interests you outside the SEC?
Well, as I stated, I always watch my friends first and ties that I have, and watching that domination down in Lake Charles last night was pretty cool, because there's not a lot of love lost between McNeese and Stephen F. Austin. That's a pretty big rivalry, and it was kind of trending.
That, John.
Yeah. I mean, how do you not know that? How does the Phantom not know that?
Hey, I'm with you. I got
McNeese at home last night catching points. Come on, man.
Yeah.
But it's SEC for me, and I'm a big Big East tournament guy as well. I've always it was growing up, my dad felt like Madison Square Garden. He just always would watch every game at the Garden. And I heard you saying, Barry, that you went to ACC tournaments. I actually went to an ACC tournament a couple of years, but I went to one in Greensboro when it was Johnny Dawkins versus I'm trying to think, was it 86?
That was Daryl Dawkins in 86. What do you mean?
Johnny Dawkins.
It was Johnny Dawkins, Allery, Tommy Amaker. And my dad asked me I was pulling for Duke, but North Carolina won. And I remember he had kind of taken me up there. He'd moved up to Charlotte and asked me and he said, son, it's just like being in Alabama. I mean, you got to choose. So he took me through took me on a tour to Duke, took me on a tour to North Carolina. We went to that tournament in Greensboro, and I wore me a Duke shirt, and then Carolina beat them. And he said, well, you got to make a decision now about where you want to go to camp. And so fortunately I ended up choosing North Carolina. I'm glad they won that day, because Michael Jordan ended up teaching me triple threat, and that wouldn't have happened if I hadn't chosen Carolina.
Whoa. You taught him?
No. I taught the kid that was guarding me, John, as you know that.
Okay.
But I had on cons, and so it kind of became competitive. And he told me if I get the cons off my feet, I'd be a pretty good player.
They weren't Chuck Taylors, were they?
They were the old weapons, white and blue weapons.
I remember them.
100%. The Mark Aguirres, actually. I think it was.
Mark Gallery played on those teams with Billis and all that. Those were some good teams.
They were. But this week, I actually, if it'll warm up a little bit, there'll be a little basketball in the morning, golf in the middle, and then basketball at night.
Oh, nice.
I'm actually planning. I didn't go to the SEC tournament after being sick. I just had to kind of bail on that, and I really wasn't expecting a lot of the Bulldogs. So, but next week, I'm actually I'm looking into going. I'm going to go to a tournament site next week. Probably, if it's Greenville, there's a Hall's Chop House there, so that really kind of twist the arm. But probably going to Fall of Queens. Is the plan. I told Grant that if they win, I'd love to see it. Hey, I know the way they play, John. They shoot a lot of threes. They get a lot of offensive rebounds, and then shoot a lot more threes. So
I like it. That's what I'm more rooting for in the tournament. I want Troy to go to Greenville, and Queens in the same deal, so we can hang out at home.
Awesome, Barry.
Well, what about Joe Lenardi says Troy and Alabama going to face off in the first round?
I'd love to see it. It's obviously a contrasting style, but the thing I don't really, everybody talks to take the stairs and the hard-nosed mentality about how Coach Scott Cross's teams play, and rightly so. Think about Thomas Dowd. I mean, he's the epitome of everything Scott Cross is. Probably his favorite player of all time. And the retention that Scott Cross has the ability to continue producing at Troy. These kids want to play for him. It's very similar to what's happening in Alabama with Nate Oates. They want to come back, but Troy can score it. I mean, they can play different ways. Yeah, they can beat you 68-54 like they did South Alabama in Troy. But also, if needed, they can put up 85, 86 points. With Campbell's shooting it, with Valdez getting to the free throw line 10 times a game, and Dowd making a couple here or there. So I would love to see that matchup. I'll bet Nate Oates wouldn't like to see that matchup.
Who's going to take the Georgia Tech job?
I'd be surprised if it's not Scott Cross. And if it's not Scott, there's a tie there, obviously, with Brent. What's his name?
Brent Jones,
Brent Jones. And I'm hearing a lot of that. But I'll tell you something. The two names, there's a lot of Grant Leonard talk as well from Queens. ACC guy, grew up in the league, loving the league. And so I think you're going to see Grant move on as well. I think you got to put Bill Armstrong with McNeese.
Right.
They make the turn. I think you got to put Charlie Henry, even though they didn't win the tournament, winning 5 games in 5 days at Georgia Southern. I think he's got to – people like the Nate Oates system. That's kind of the new wave, just like a young offensive coordinator in the NFL. So, but I would say unless Scott Cross wins a game or two and elevates even more, I think Georgia Tech. Barry, what would you have a?
I would not have a comment on that. I didn't
know if you'd be able to.
I have a mortgage. I have bills to pay. I do not have a comment.
Kind of, Bart would get on the air one day and say, Barry, I'm hearing John Summerall's going to Tulane. I can't stop.
Good. Yeah, you that one-word answer, John. It's a rhetorical question.
Yeah, love what you guys do all the time on the Press Box Radio show. Tell everybody about it, Bart.
Yeah, at Press Box Radio, we're on in like 6 states, different times, just based on what the slot is. If anybody's ever interested in getting us on your station, we're always wide open for that. But Mike Grace, Colin Lacey, that just old radio guys, and we have a good time. We talk a lot of sports, but we do a Mount Rushmore every week of whether it be frozen treats or best basketball venues we've ever been to, and that's kind of fun. And then one thing we've started doing is Bart's House of Etiquette on Fridays. We've just got some morons out here in the world that don't know how to act in certain at red lights, at gas station checkouts, and we have to cover some of that stuff.
Getting on an airplane with your pajama bottoms on. Come on, people.
Yeah, John.
What are you thinking about?
There are things like Jerry Seinfeld realized a long time ago that need to be addressed in this world.
That's what Bart is here to do. Yeah. Also,
love it.
On social media as well. Bart, we appreciate you.
Thanks, guys. Always enjoy it.
Week. Hit them straight out there. Bart Heisch, our resident college basketball insider, member of Mississippi State's Final Four team.
Yep.
Barry, Range Pro wanted me to let you know today starts what a lot of people consider to be the 5th major in professional golf. It's the Players Championship.
It may get elevated, and I mean it's close to people considering that.
A lot of people said Brandel Chambly earlier this week said it's definitely the toughest field in golf.
Yeah.
You tell him, Brandel. Range Pro says watch out for Siwoo Kim this week. That is Range Pro's dark horse in the TPC.
All right.
Now it's Sawgrass. Siwoo Kim.
Yeah. $25 million purse at the Players. That's bigger than any major. If you're talking about money, and anytime I talk with John about golf, he ends up talking about money. Like playing for free.
I mean, you think Bart's playing golf tomorrow just for fun? No.
Yeah, and I've been on the course at TPC Sawgrass. It is demanding, a big purse. I'm telling you, it's knocking on the door of major status. Appreciate that from Range Pro. More in just a moment. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.
Phoenix Physical Therapy is ready to help patients recover, recharge, and rise. They develop a customized therapy plan for each patient to get them back to enjoying their favorite activities. Their experienced team is committed to providing exceptional care in a professional environment. Whether you're looking to prevent or treat an injury, recover from a recent illness, or recuperate from surgery, schedule an appointment with one of their clinics and take advantage of physical therapy, athletic training, workers' comp, and employer solution services. Get back in the game, get back to work, and get back to life with Phoenix Physical Therapy. To find a location near you and to schedule an appointment, go to phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. That's phoenixphysicaltherapy.com. Well, I don't. The Montgomery Regional Airport is getting better the more you use it. MGM offers multiple nonstop daily flights to Atlanta, Charlotte, Dallas-Fort Worth, and Washington's Reagan National Airport via Delta and American Airlines. And beginning this April, MGM will offer daily nonstop flights to Houston's Intercontinental Airport via United Airlines. All of these cities offer easy connections to destinations all over the country and all over the world. Make travel more cost-effective and less stressful when you utilize your Montgomery Regional Airport. MGM, you can get there from here.
Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry is an Alabama-based, family-owned and operated business that specializes in dry cleaning and laundry serving the River region since 1941. There are 12 convenient locations across the River region. Find one close to you or call 481-1911 for free pickup and delivery. For 83 years, Central Alabama has trusted Jim Massey's Cleaners and Laundry. You should too.
Perfect example of them. I don't really know the names very well. I cannot think of this young man's first name, last name. I believe it's Gotterup on the PGA Tour.
Oh, yeah.
Heard a lot about this young man, ranked in the top 10, young stud. Crypto Capstone says, watch out for him at the TPC this week. Yeah, the name rings a bell. I've heard him. Yeah. He has made a charge in the early part of the season on the tour this year.
Chris got her up. I was thinking Mick Jagger because of that immortal mid-'80s Stones tune called Start Me Up.
Mm-hmm.
The PGA Tour is led by a guy named Brian Rolap. Brian Rolap is the CEO of the PGA Tour. He was with the NFL, where he was responsible for the NFL's media businesses, digital media, NFL Network, blah, blah, blah. He's a media guy. And as part of the Players Tour deal, he had a press conference yesterday where he was talking about marketing the PGA Tour. He said they want to start a conversation about the players being a major.
Yep.
And he said this. And when he said this, I wanted to slam my laptop on the floor, turn around, and beat my head against the wall.
Huh.
He's been in the sports business his entire career, mostly sports media. He said this, and I quote, I can't even say it. The sports business is not that hard. Just think like a fan, and 9.5 times out of 10, that's probably the right answer. End quote. Brian, if you're going to say it, at least give proper credit to the man who originated the concept. Once again, John, again, Brian Rolap, somebody said, hey, what about the sports media? I don't know what the context was. But Ryan Rolap, he ends up saying, the sports business is not that hard. Just think like a fan, and 9.5 times out of 10, that's probably the right answer.
Maybe one day, I'm holding out hope. One day, more people will think like I do.
By the way, tomorrow
I need a bumper sticker, Barry, on the back of my car. More people should think like I do. Huh,
yes.
I like that.
Which means stop tailgating me. Yeah. Also, we'll do this tomorrow because we're just about out of time. Tomorrow, the NFL.
Yes.
Sports marketing, sports media. The NFL is considering what we call the schedule creep.
Yeah.
Well, you know what the NFL, it used to be NFL Sunday, right? NFL Sunday.
Yes.
NFL is on Sunday night. Reports are surfacing, John, that the NFL is looking to establish a new you've got opening night. You've got week one. You've got a Friday international game now. The Sunday morning in the international games like in Munich and London and all that. 3 Thanksgiving days, 1 Black Friday game, a Christmas Day doubleheader, and various late season Saturday games.
Okay.
Plus Thanksgiving.
Yes.
Now, just give me your knee-jerk reaction. They are looking hard at adding a Wednesday Thanksgiving Eve game.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
Now, of course, Barry,
they're playing Wednesday, Thursday. The NFL, they can play Sunday and they'll make a killing, but they're creeping into these other parts of the week. I don't know why they got to do that.
Love it. Now, Barry, somebody years ago said, you know what? I think the Iron Bowl should be played on the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. People thought I was crazy.
I thought you were
the only game in town. Everybody's starving to watch football on Wednesday night.
It is.
For Uncle Ed and Aunt Edna show up the next morning.
And you have to watch Lawrence Welk. The Wednesday before Thanksgiving is always the slowest day on the calendar, sports-wise. There's never anything on Wednesday. The NFL says, hey, we'll fill the void. NFL doesn't have to fill the void. College football fill it. I
know it's Christmas, but that afternoon Christmas Eve game, because you kind of got a little lull. You wake up on Christmas Eve, getting the last minute details and things straightened out before you go into church or Christmas Eve dinner or wherever. So you got that like 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock window. You're going, this should be a game on right now. Sometimes they do it, and it's got to have the Christmas Eve game.
They're thinking about it. We'll talk about that more tomorrow as well. Yep.
Yes.
Our guest, great stuff from Bart Haish, great stuff from Rodney Orr, presented by the Destin Connection Seafood Market. Tomorrow on the show, John's on location. I'm out tomorrow. But
I'm about to say, I thought so. Yeah, tomorrow I'll be at Stivers Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Prattville tomorrow. Of course, Ralph Michaels, Wager Talking the Gold Sheet. Stephen M. Smith going to hop on with us tomorrow to talk a little Bama spring football as they'll wrap up the first part of it and break for spring holidays and then come back. So Stephen M. will hop on with us. I believe Gurn Sr., who is heading to Nashville, Barry, to watch the tournament. Vanderbilt tomorrow afternoon, Bama tomorrow night, getting the double header. So looking forward to talking to him about that as well.
Yes. For John Longshore, I'm Barry McKnight. It's Longshore and McKnight in association with Yellowhammer News, presented by Bud Light.